Okay guys, so I promised to do a quick video to show you what's going on with the OpenABA site. So I'm going to give you a quick walkthrough now. Hopefully you'll be able to see this and it'll work. This is my first, or well, I'm still trying out this whole screencast thing. So you can see here's the main page that you land on when you arrive to the site. So it starts at the top here. You can see you have site news and a welcome message, down to your available courses and some things about navigation, so you need to know where we are, what courses are available, and a calendar, right down to the bottom. Okay, so if you were to click on a course from here, of which there can be several or just the one, which will be your starting point, you'll be directed to this page where you need to log in. So each person will have their own unique login and password as well, and so people will be able to log in by themselves and without necessarily having to have approval from anyone else. So it'll all be sort of fairly automatic. So once I log in here, this should bring me to the course page. Now I should warn you that my internet is particularly slow today, so hopefully this is going to work. So here now we're inside the course itself. So you can see some of the options here. We have navigation, just tell you where you are in terms of the course itself, admin, things like that, and you have your own messages. So if you can have internal messages between students or between teachers. And one of the things I was hoping that we could do with the site was that the teachers could, well, so that individuals, like let's say yourself, Marianne, if you wanted to send a number of people on this course, that you would be able to have people sign up underneath you as a teacher, and that you would be able to then track their progress and also send them messages, and they could send you messages directly to the course. So some of the other things before we get into the course proper, you can see you have your own profile. So if you click on that, it'll bring you to your profile, where you can add more details, and so you can get to know the other people who might be taking the course. And so here's some random details for me as an admin user. You have your messages then likewise. I kind of talked a little bit about that, so you don't need to know too much more. And then social, in terms of a Facebook page and a list of other people that might be on the course itself. There's also an option to put in discussion boards and things like that, news forums and calendars and things like that. So that's all well and good. Let's get back to the course itself so I can show you some of those bits and pieces. So wait for this to load up. Okay, so back into the course. I should have picked a day with better internet connection. Okay, so as you can see here, you can have different modules. So I've got 5 modules outlined here, and progress from one to the other is contingent upon completing the requirements of each module. So you'll see as I go into this module now, what I mean by that is that each activity has its own requirement in order to have it finished. So if you click on this, you might have to just read it and answer some questions and pass a test, or answer questions as you go through each slide or each piece of reading. Otherwise, you can some of these might be videos, so you have to watch the video from start to finish in order for this to be ticked off. So you can see over here, there's a check mark beside each of the activities that have been completed, and a sort of grayed out check mark for those that haven't. So there's massive opportunity, or massive range of different things you can put into these sort of courses. So you can have videos, you can have videos with questions intermittently placed during the videos, so that you have to so that you're looking at active student responding and things like that. So I'll have a look. I'll show you. Here's one, just a video embedded in the course itself. That's a very straightforward video without questions. As long as it'll take a minute to load up. So here's a video, and these can then basically be linked from YouTube or from anywhere else on the web. So what I'd hope is that we could find lots of good examples of various types of practice, so teaching practices and demonstrations of various behavioral procedures, etc. So here's William Ewer talking about, I don't know what he's talking about, I think teaching in schools or something like that. So that'll play as a YouTube video, you can maximize it, etc. And so that'll only be, I think the settings I have for that one is that you have to play it from start to finish in order for it to be marked as being completed. So you get the message anyway. I'll pop back out of this now and I'll show you some of, there it goes, starting away for him to talk through it. So then there's other things, so obviously you can link to PDFs like this one here, so that's your readings and notes. I'm not going to open that, that's very boring. And then you can have pages in and of themselves. Now, I'm not sure if I have anything on this page. I think this might just be a test page here. Oh yeah, okay, so illustrative case studies and video examples of different things. So let's say if we're looking at task analysis, you can embed various examples of task analysis from the web. And again, these have to be viewed from start to finish in order for it to tick off that it's done. And also, I suppose you can arrange these nicer so that the page looks nicer overall. So starting again back here, so they've all been ticked off, excuse me. Then you can have links to different web pages for people to check out, and other things like that. Okay, so another thing I suppose maybe I should show you is, I'm not sure if this has been set up now or not, but on a page you can lay it out like any other web page, whereby you have a mixture of text and pictures. So here's just a random page based on, I think this is coral reef zoology, so this is what it would look like if you were to read from top to bottom. So you can design pages that look like this as well. So just so you know that if we were to go down this road, you can have lots of other stuff on the pages as well. Okay, so that's that page. So basically how I'd see this working is that we'd have a variety of text and video, including active student responding, for the in order to give people information to begin with. We could then have I suppose the next phase, so I'd sort of put them all under lecture materials here. Then the next phase that we'd move on to would be program instruction. So I'm not sure if you've come across that. That's coming from some of Skinner's work and some of the other behavior analysts in the 70s and 80s, when they were looking at using computer screens for well, sort of frames on computers in order to do learning. And so I don't know if you've come across the behavior development solutions modules, but basically they work off the same sort of format as this. So I've set that up here in a very similar format, and it's quite good in terms of establishing fluency and stimulus control. So you can see here that, well, on the previous page I had fluency and acquisition learning. So the acquisition learning, similar to, again, the behavior development solutions modules, is that in acquisition learning you're not working to a timer, but in fluency learning you are. And so in order to pass the criteria for this activity on it in the course, then you'd be you have to complete all the full module within a certain time. So this is loading up now. Actually, I think there's a little video at the beginning. So yeah, if you quit halfway, then it'll ask you whether you want to resume where you left off or start at the beginning again. So I'll start at the beginning again. I have a little video here that we can insert at different points with a logo, with music. It's very fancy. Fairly low quality because the recording software that I was using wasn't very sophisticated. But anyway, so this is what it looks like. As you can see up here in the corner, and we have a timer, so we have 2 minutes to complete all the questions in this. We have, here's the question that you have various options you can select. You can also then have a hint, which is basically your prompt. So as you're going through the acquisition learning, basically what you'd hope is that you're placing the person in the position where they have the opportunity to respond. The prompt is there, and as you're going through the acquisition learning, then basically you can take as much time as you want. So what we'd be guiding people to do is to look at the question, look at the hint, answer. So we're looking for sort of errorless learning, or close to errorless learning. So we hit continue, we make a selection, whether it's right or wrong. I'm not really looking at the question, so I don't know whether it's going to be right or wrong. Then you submit down here. So this is incorrect, so and continue. Move on to the next one. Behavior change with limited hold means, da da da. Again, what we'd be guiding people to do in the acquisition modules would be to take their hint, as in take the prompt, and select your answer and submit. Oh, well, so guessing obviously works. And so continue. So I'm just going to randomly go through these so we get to the end. Okay. Still not doing guesswork, obviously doesn't pay off in the end. Continue. Hopefully we'll be able to get to the end before the time runs out. Okay, and so as we get to the end here, it tells you a result. So 20% what I scored here. You can retry the quiz, you can review the questions you got right or wrong, or you can print the results. And so at this point, then the results of this quiz are logged in the background of the course overall, and the results for all of the students enrolled in the course at any one time will be available at different levels to the administrative users. So if someone came in and they had a cohort of students, let's say from a school, that they wanted to take part in the course, and then they would have access to all the results of those students as they progress through the course, including this level of detail here that we have. So the number of attempts, the scores that each person got at each attempt, etc. So you could basically, at this point, if you saw that someone was kind of stuck, then you could identify that because they'd repeated a module a number of times, they were still getting low scores, and you could maybe schedule to have an additional supervision or coaching or something like that for them, to give them a hand. But that being said, this course is basically set up, as I've kind of hopefully described so far, in such a way that it pretty much runs itself. So people have to score in that quiz there. People had to score. The criteria was set so that people had to score. I think I set it up as 80 or 100%, and they had to complete. So out of whatever there were there, 10, 15 questions, you have to get all of them or 80% of them right within the time. So we were looking for fluent responding and relatively accurate responding before this here gets ticked off, and you can move on to the next set of modules. So the next module down here, you'd have to have all of these ticked off. So essentially what I'm saying is then that the course will run itself. So you don't actually need any administrative work if you have people enrolling in the course, or I won't end up having to mark 1,000 people's quizzes or give people access to different elements of the course, because again, what I'm trying to say is that it'll run itself. It's a little bit ambitious to have 1,000 people, but anyway, if we ever got to that point. So I've talked a little bit about lecture materials. That's how we impart the information. The program instruction is how we build towards fluency and check that people are learning as they go. And then there's the final part is, I'm calling this theory to practice project, but that's probably not what I call at the end. But basically what this would be is an opportunity for people to take what they've learned and apply it in practice. So there are numerous opportunities or numerous ways that this can happen. So either people can submit written work, or they can submit videos, or they can give feedback to other people on their own written work. And so all of these things can be done through these kind of activities that we have here as another way of another method of learning and another method of checking whether there has been a transfer of learning and the person is learning as they go. So what we have here, I'm not sure if I have these set up, it's been a while since I've looked at this, but basically how it works is that if you submit a piece of work, a video or a written piece of work, let's say if the topic was on task analysis, that you submit a task analysis. Actually this isn't set up fully, no. But let's say you were to set up a task analysis, was the assignment, then you would basically submit that, and then your peers would grade it. So that's how that would work. So I'm running out of time here, but I think I've covered most of the functions that I wanted to. So I'm going to wrap it up as it's approaching 15 minutes. So I'm